let's get into the conversation. Burner boy, burner boy, burner boy. All right, so it does seem like Burna Boy has come under a lot of criticism about some certain comments that he made. He talked about the roots of African Americans. He basically said that, you know, people need to come back. African Americans, of course, need to come to Africa, get in touch with the motherland. And some African Americans were not too happy about that. So he's backed up his point. He said other races like Chinese Americans, Italian Americans actually are in touch with their roots. They travel, they know what their roots are about. And that's why they don't have a lot of the problems that African Americans, particularly the ones who live in America, have had to face as well. Irabor?
Yeah, I think, first of all, he has a point, but Burna Boy needs to pick a lane. You know, if you want to be a crusader for Black people, you have to go the full whole 9 yards and extra. You know, the same thing he's talking about with Black people, African Americans, you know, coming back to the motherland to experience life, to know their roots and all that, which is correct. Him too, who is also giving that same advice when it's time to actually use those roots or understand those roots or be part of those roots to help the same problem that he's talking about, he's absent, you know, and he feigns ignorance at the end of the day. So the reason such people may not listen to you is because I don't think you have enough to back it up. The only thing you have to back it up is that you're a sensational superstar and you have a Grammy. That's about it. You know, the same for the culture. For the culture, there's nothing to show for it, really. I mean, if we're being honest, you know, Burna Boy's music is greatly influenced by Fela. I don't see any originality of Burna Boy like that, you know. So, yeah, you know, if we're being honest,
it's got a bit of a Caribbean feel to it, though.
Yeah, it's just like saying, you know, Kobe Bryant, the late great Kobe Bryant, you know, like he mirrored Michael Jordan's game to the T, you know, and at the end of the day, he became a great player in his own right, if you get what I'm saying. But if you now want to pick it apart and say, okay, what was original about Kobe Bryant in terms of his play style and all that, it would be very difficult for you to, you know, set that aside. So that's the kind of comparison I'm trying to make. But secondly, the African Americans, those ones are even worse off, you know, in my own opinion, largely based on interaction I've had with most people. You know, the same thing with Nigerians too. Sometimes, you know, people are, especially those that are privileged of the same color. There's racism between African Americans and Nigerians as well. You know, yeah. So, and they too complain about racism from white people and other races. They too are also the same thing, and their own identities, you know, a bit misplaced sometimes. But also give them credit. Who would want to come to the motherland when the motherland itself isn't mothering, you know, to the level where anybody would want them to, you know, come and see the motherland? And Ghana is doing a good job. Nigeria, I mean, you know where we're at. So at the end of the day, I just feel individually, collectively, everybody, it just reminds me of a scene in Godfather of Harlem, between Bumpy and one other guy that he killed on the spot right there, where, you know, they're just analyzing, you know, different races and why different races are superior to other people. And they made a mental note that, yes, Black people are disorganized and they always try to be singular. Because when they were hatching out a plan on how to take over a particular block, you know, the Black man immediately said, so you are bringing up this idea because you want to be the Ogabi. The person was like,
so it's never for the collective growth.
It's never for the collective, you know. So like everybody wants to be individualistic at the end of the day, but still wants the benefits of the collective. But as long as I'm the boss, so you know. So Burna Boy too is doing the same thing of, oh yes, so I'm going to use this Afrobeat thing, you know, do my music. But when it comes to the action, just count me out.
Count me out. You know what, Irabor, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I feel Burna Boy is not in the position to actually say something like that. Now, let's go back to the 16th century when slave trade actually started in Africa. Looking at the 16th century down to the 19th century, we are talking about generations after generations. Now, you talk about these Black Americans not knowing their roots. Now, a lot of these people don't even know which part of Africa they come from. They only know that they are Africans just because of their skin color. He mentioned Italian Americans, he mentioned Chinese Americans. Now, let me ask you a question rather. These Italians and Chinese, were they slaves? They were not slaves. They were not shipped off to the United States. But we have millions of Africans that were shipped from Africa to the United States and even other countries apart from America. So imagine someone like me. Let us imagine I am a Black American.
You even look like a Black American.
My great, in fact, my ancestral lineage has always been in America. So please, how do you expect me? Sorry, how do you expect me to trace back my lineage back to Africa? And you have the moral right to say, oh, African Americans, it's because they don't come back to Africa to know about their roots. How do they want to know their roots? That's the question. Only few of them can easily trace back their roots back to Africa. I'm talking about the likes of the former president of America, Obama. You can talk the likes of Jesus.
Because those are newer immigrants. Like his father was Kenyan and only moved at the time.
So let us imagine those that didn't move in recent times. Those who were slaves in the 16th centuries, the 17th centuries. How do you want them to trace their race back to Africa? So it's easier for you to say, oh, Chinese go back to their country, they know their they know their ancestral lineage, they know everything.
Well, if we're going to be very honest,
and also Indians. What do you say?
If we're going to be honest, it's easy. It's been easy to trace your ancestral lineage for at least, let me say, 10 years. I mean, the technological advancement, there's the internet there. There are services that you can go through and use. Is that they are not interested in it, which I understand what you're saying too. Because if we're being honest, who gave away the slaves? It's Black people.
That is the painful truth.
That's the truth. But the is, even you as an individual, if you're given a first-class ticket to leave Nigeria today, to be a citizen of one of the developed countries in the world, you would leave. So let us look at Africa itself.
Debatable. No, debatable.
How many are coming back into Africa? Rather, we have
a lot of exodus
leaving. So if you are saying, oh, they don't know their culture, what are you talking about culture? We can go on Google and look at culture.
But there's something Irabor said. They're just simply not interested. Because I think if people are interested in something, they will actually make moves.
No, he talked about
it. But the one that annoys me the most is that in as much as they're not interested, they also bash Black Americans. Black people, Black Africans. Black Americans bash, Black Africans, which is something I detest. I don't like it because whether you are African American, whether you're Black American, see, as long as your skin is black, you're supposed to just know this is my person, regardless of where you came from. Whether you are Caribbean or whatever, I don't even care. Jamaican, I don't care. My point is, Black people at the end of the day. Things like this shouldn't be something we should be brooding over. It should be something that we should try to understand each other and just accept each other, then move forward. But that's what, the white man uses against us. That disunity of, this person or these groups of people don't like to form a coalition at the end of the day for their own greater purpose. They will talk about the Jews from now till tomorrow, but they are failing to understand that the Jews had to band together following the Holocaust and everything to say almost, this is what we need to do. Now, Black people, there is nothing we can actually hold high up there to say, okay, we have gathered this to the point where it's our thing and we are reaping, benefits from all these things. But, such is life. You know your identity at the end of the day.
Let's look at a few messages. Taya says, Burna Boy's activism most times is fictional, just like Wakanda. All talk, no action. We just did elections, and I don't think I saw anything. He did post once and say people should stop asking him to endorse anyone. People should go out and vote for whoever it is that they want to vote for. Daisy says, no one is listening to Burna or the culture when he's the first person to insult his fans. Well said, Irabor. The motherland isn't mothering. Black people are their own worst enemies. Okay. And let's talk about Mo Abudu. Now, Mo Abudu, who's a media mogul here in Nigeria, has joined forces with Idris Elba, and the aim is to empower African storytellers. This partnership is supposed or aiming to build capacity and foster authentic representation in global film and TV projects or production.
This one is a good one. You know, bring dishing out graduates every quarter. I think after every 3 months, yes, every quarter. So for her to work with Idris Elba and to tell the African story, we have a lot of movies in Nigeria. I was telling someone that there are a lot of stories, true life stories that our actors, our producers don't do much about. Rather, we see the fictional stories. So if we can, based on this, if they can start talking about the African story, the true African story, the African culture. For example, you want to talk about the story of Uthman Danfodio. You want to talk about the, the heroes of other African countries. Now, this is a partnership that will drive the force.
Irabor?
Yeah, I think, where do I even begin? I think we need to add to this global press release that has been released to Black people, where we are always very particular about talking about our stories. Yeah, I love it, but we need to talk about it correctly. That's the thing. Even if we're not talking about our stories, production-wise, we need to be technically savvy. That's what we need to focus on more, so that whatever we're presenting wherever in the world, even if it is locally, it is received, from that technical standpoint that, oh, wow, these guys are putting out great content, not just content en masse, Say we are boasting that we have, the highest production rate. Okay, fine. It's just like saying, a man and a woman, or a man, a polygamous man just giving birth to children, and he's not nurturing them. Just, okay, yeah, I can give birth to kids. Yes, it's not easy. Consummate. Let's go. But now the quality of those kids at the end of the day, are they riffraffs? Are they graduates? Are they doctors? That's what I mean. So we need to focus on that. And please, just permit me for 1 minute to really talk about Mo Abudu. That is
in what context are we talking about Mo Abudu?
That's the epitome of excellence. She's the epitome of excellence. She's the epitome of somebody who doesn't just talk. She walks the talk as well. Forget whether she has put out horrible movies such as Chief Daddy 2, movies that we're not understanding, movies that we're not understanding such as The Sunday Affair, but the thing is, she's doing it and she's learning on the job and she's sacrificing. The thing she did with Lagos State government, where they're doing Ebony Life Creative Academy and all that, like, for the fact that somebody is sensible enough, which it should be a natural thing, but I have to give her kudos, because whenever you're doing something, you have to think of how you're going to make it in a way where newer generations come through. So Mo Abudu, for the fact that she put her hat in the ring first to do it, that is why international people or people who want to come and do it with you as well on a bigger scale. So people who actually talk, find a way to do something. In my own little way, I'm doing presenting. I still find ways to bring interns on board. Like, see, this is how it's done. Because at the end of the day, me and those people can work together. But nobody, like, again, back to what we said, the first topic, everybody just wants themselves. They just want to eat only me. Nobody wants to have fun. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mo Abudu is doing what she's doing, but she's still trying to bring up the new generation. I mean, it's something you have to give her kudos for. So that's what we need to learn.
Yes, I want to add to that because I'm a product of that particular academy. And I remember from the first graduate and second graduate students, she actually picks some of the best students to work with her. So I can really say, yes, she's really, really tried. How many people have, there are a lot of actors, producers, and directors who have the capacity as much as Mo Abudu. But the
maybe they don't quite have the capacity.
They don't.
Because capacity is not just like in terms of financial. I mean, that is also a part of it. There's so many other factors that
No,
possibly
but
is limiting others.
you don't necessarily have to have money. For
So
example,
that's why I'm saying it's not just finance.
Yeah, it's not just fine. There are people that do it. The late Peace Ayam Osigwe, she has her own foundation via the AMA platform. Kule Afolabi has his own too. There's a producer, Chris Ode, the guy we live in bondage, and Ramsey Noah and Co. He has a free production class and all that. There are people that are doing it. It's as simple as let people
All
just
right,
come.
we have to take a break. We'll continue the conversation on the other side. This is The Grapevine on Smooth 98.1.
Zibby.
You guys.
Zibby, let me check his audio. I can't hear him, so I don't know when I went to come in.
Please come closer. Okay. We're having some slight challenges. Can you hear him better now?
Can you hear me?
Better now, because I feel like cut him off like twice or three times. I'm not sure because I couldn't hear whether I was talking or not talking, so.
Okay.
All right. Okay. There's something we're trying to sort out. So, yeah. Me and Afolabi are going to sit like husband and wife right now.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Can you see us?
Yeah, it's to your benefit now, Afolabi.
Yes, so, yeah. In this life, one has to enjoy one way or the other.
I came to Jaye. Okay, so we're back on in about 40 seconds. So the Chief Daddy movie, because someone sent a message and said the Chief Daddy 2 really scarred everyone, Irabor especially.
Chief Daddy.
Sorry,
I never saw it too.
It's good, don't you?
Thank God, I'll not waste my time.
But there have been some good movies she's done now.
No.
Daddy one was
Oluchube is one of the good movies.
She only has like 2 or 3 movies that are good. Or 4.
We're on. No, bring your mic.
Okay.
Move to 98.1. Love music, love life. This is The Grapevine. It's Zibby, and I've got my co-anchors with me, Irabor and Afolabi, this morning. Now, just before the break, we spoke about a collaboration between Abudu's Ebony Life Media and Idris Elba. But let's move on to another Nigerian artist doing things internationally. Now, Adekunle Gold is now signed onto Def Jam, and Def Jam is owned by UMG, which is the Universal Music Group. And this is a good thing, but I'm curious. I hope this won't go down the same way D'banj's signing with Kanye went down years ago.
I don't think so. He is not the first Nigerian artist to be signed to international record label. We have a lot of them talking about Pato Ranking, Tiwa Savage, Whiskey, Davido, and all that. A lot of them has been signed, and I don't think they have issues with the record label. So it's a great one for Adekunle Gold being on this particular level. He has been on top of his game for so many years, and I can say it is well deserved for him. And for it to be like just like what you said earlier, the band issue and all that. Well, I think it's a function of personality and understanding between the artist and the record label. If there is enough understanding between the two parties, I don't think there should be an issue. But once there is an issue, then that is where each person will have to go their separate ways.
Irabor?
I mean, we wouldn't know of any issue. Time will tell. One thing I have to tell entertainers, we're in the 21st century. Lawyer up and know your worth at the end of the day. Don't now try to look for fame, then, sign contracts, and at the end of the day, you're crying wolf. Imagine a person, within the adult age range complaining about certain things that they could have avoided in terms of business in this regard. So they need to lawyer up and know the business. not just become only artists, because you've had artists such as Prince, Michael Jackson, who didn't own their masters up to a certain point. And, you know, they now had to start fighting, and you know where they are right now. So they need to be very careful whenever they're signing these deals. It's good as a headline. Oh, Adekunle Gold is signed to Def Jam. Oh, wow. You know, so. I mean, Jay-Z cheated off Damon Dash, you know, off his deal back in the day. You know, we can cite so many examples here. So, and people lose their lives as a result too. So it's a very, you know, dynamic, unique business at the end of the day. So, but my point again to Adekunle and every other artist, if you need to sign such a deal, do so. If you don't need to, I mean, might very well just be in Nigeria, do your thing. And Afrobeats is really making waves right now. But it's another testament to what our situation is like here at home, where that validation, again, I'm not having any issue with it. I'm just saying, like, we could also set this up in Nigeria. There's nothing stopping us. I keep saying there's nothing stopping us from setting such things up in Nigeria, where our distribution channels, all those things are in place. Yes, of course, we need to have light first. We need to have telecoms first. People need to actually have internet-enabled phones. There are a lot of factors. But my point is, we can also try to build our own too, so that these guys can milk from here and from outside at the end of the day. Then we need to put standards in place so that these guys don't get cheated.
Irabor, based on what you've just said earlier, we need to understand that majority of the record labels in Nigeria are out there to kind of milk off the artist rather than making the artist and the record label.
Isn't that what record labels are like everywhere?
That's what they do everywhere.
Why do you think these guys sign with international record label?
No, I don't think that's the reason.
Now, hold on. For you to sign with international record labels, there are two things involved. You get exposure, and two, you earn in dollars. Now, let's take Adekunle's Gold, for example. In this particular record label, you have the likes of DJ Khaled, you have the likes of Justin Bieber, you have the likes of Ludacris. We're talking about A-list artists, international artists that you can easily have a collaboration with because you're signed onto the same record label. Imagine if he's not signed onto that record label. You know how much you are going to pay for you to have one of them to collaborate with you on a particular track. That's a lot of money. But hold on, I'm coming. Even if at any point, you are going to collaborate with them because you're signed on this record label, it's not going to be as much as you're not. So here in Nigeria, take Wizkid's issue with EME, for example. Why did he leave EME? It was being milked out. Then he decided, all right, it's time for me to, to stand on my own. A lot of these artists at some point leave the record label to start their own record label. I cannot start counting it. We have close to 10 who decided to leave at some point. So the issue with Nigerian record label is simply because they decided to gain more from the artists than allowing both parties to enjoy the benefits that
almost parasitic in some way.
Exactly.
Irabor?
See, this is what I'm saying. So it's good to get international exposure. The contract, nobody knows what the contract says. That's my point. So even if you're on the same Def Jam label as Justin Bieber and, you know, Khalid and all those people, I mean, what's the deal like? Because if you're attached to them, are you going to really benefit? I'm not against people getting those deals. I'm just saying, know what the deal is about, lawyer up so that you are not cheated at the end of the day, which is why I cited those international artists such as Michael Jackson, Prince, and co. I cited Jay-Z and all the rest. Even Kanye West had issues with Jay-Z. Even Big Sean had issues with Kanye West. So I'm just saying that know what you are getting into at the end of the day. Don't let smoke screen or aesthetics fool you. That's all I'm saying, which is why I also said the Nigerian terrain itself needs to improve. There are certain standards that need to be instituted. That's what I'm saying at the end of the day. Wizkid and Banky, for example, we don't know the true story because Banky still said Wizkid owes them an album. And we know how pompous Wizkid is too. You can just up and leave contract in Nigeria as if say, you know, you don't know that you've signed something. So, I mean, my point is the nitty-gritty needs to be known so that you don't get messed up at the end of the day, whether it's national or international.
And also, this is an advice for artists. You have young artists. The only thing they want is, please, I want to be signed to a record label. They beg you, please, I want to be signed to a record label. They don't take their time to read the contract that they are about to sign, only for them to sign, oh, you're famous, you're popular, and you expect them to be giving you things that you feel you are entitled to. And only for you not to get those things, then you start shouting on social media, this and that, which reminds me between Kiss Daniel and is it not Jimmy White? Yeah, something like that.
Okay, speaking about possible bad record label bosses, Diddy, aka Sean Combs, some call him Brother Love, Puff Daddy. Well, Diddy, that's what he is known as right now. He's entered a bidding war to actually buy BET. Now, Tyler Perry is already in the run to buy the Black Entertainment Television. It includes BET, BET Plus, VH1, and BET Studios. And it's all owned by the Paramount Global at the moment. So these two media moguls, music media and movie media, are trying to, it's like a race. Who will buy BET?
Well, whoever actually comes out on top, it's a good news for BET because BET is Black Entertainment Television. And but over the years, since it has been bought from the two original co-founders, it's no longer what it used to be because the targeted audience back then was the African American. Now, I don't know if you know about this TV series Boondocks.
Oh, I know the Boondocks.
Yeah. Now, Boondocks in season 2, episode 14 and 15, it was criticized because it was targeted as stylishly stigmatizing African Americans. So a lot of people started losing interest in watching BET. Now, I told myself, if a TV station that is actually aimed at showing content to African Americans was acquired by Americans, you can understand
by non-Black Americans.
By non-Black Americans. Do you understand? So you can understand that some of the content they are going to be dishing out will be throwing stylishly some racist, content towards the African Americans. So now, just like Sean Combs said, that he wants BET to be owned by an African American again. So I think it's a good one. And if either Tyler Perry or Sean Diddy actually gets this, at least the content, he might actually go back to the original aim of broadcasting things that will actually, appeal to the African Americans.
All right, Irabor, what do you think?
Okay, first off, I'm not a fan of Diddy's business, acumen. He may know how to make money, but I don't think his sharing is legit. If you're going to look at his track record with his Bad Boy Entertainment, a lot of people have died. A lot of artists are angry with him. A lot of people feel they've not been paid. If we're looking at it from a success rate level, I would think Tyler Perry is more suited because he's a production person. So we would know that, yes, content wouldn't be a problem in any way. Regarding the Black people not liking BET at a point and all that, I have not seen that episode that you're talking about, but one thing I've noticed is Black people, and I hate to generalize, Black people don't like the truth. When you bring something that is, informative or critical, or just different from the woke movement or thought process, everybody shuts you down. Nobody wants to hear the other party. It's the same thing with the LGBTQ people today. Nobody wants to have a debate. Nobody wants to talk. Nobody wants to understand what the other party knows. All right,
Irabor, we have just about 30 seconds.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we look forward to seeing what BET would bring regarding the new owners, and hopefully they understand what Black culture needs right now, which is critical information that is important to our advancement.
Awesome. Well, that's all the time that we have for The Grapevine this morning. Thank you, my co-anchors, Afolabi and Irabor as well for joining us. Thank you for your messages. Tayo, funny fella, says BT under Tyler Perry is about to get a Medea cameo. Just stay with us. There's a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast. Thanks, Irabor.
No problem. Bye, ya.
Bye.
Bye.